boy. Sports podcast.
Well,
This is the funeral for the 2023 season.
for both of us. Fuck. Just need to take a moment.
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence. All right.
It's a good season, mate. It's unlucky. Good season.
Good season. Hey, at least we got out the same weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, would have been good for someone, but
Look, no one had bragging rights at the end of the
That's
day, you know?
yeah.
We finished the same, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we start? Where do we start on that? Jesus. I don't know what was worse, getting smashed or getting beat in the last minute.
I think it's as bad as each other.
They're
We're
both
talking
bad.
about it on the weekend, but like, I don't think one hurts any less.
No.
Like, I feel like a piece of me is gone.
Yeah, look. I don't know, man.
Maybe it's like, maybe the way you lost is because like
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
you got kind of robbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah, I don't know, but
You can go that way, or you can go the way that like we probably should have closed it out anyway. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? We were in front,
mm.
so yeah. We'll sort of probably get to James a little bit more anyway. Should we move on?
We should. All right. Yeah.
Done of the week, mate. Who'd you have?
I had the Warriors fans.
The fans.
The fans.
Yeah, they were going
They're
mental.
fucking hectic, eh?
Yeah.
They're wild, and like that's I don't know. I wouldn't say it got them over the line, but like it was massive. It was the atmosphere. I feel like was like way different to like even the Knights' home ground,
Yeah.
and that was wild the week before.
Yeah, they were just going wild, as you said,
Fuck
all
yeah.
all game, man.
All
and I
game.
think it was like having an extra player. Almost didn't need it though, because you guys didn't turn up at all.
Oh,
but
100%.
yeah, that was definitely like probably one of the craziest. Like I can't really think of another time this year where like it was like that anywhere.
No, I don't even think like
I don't think Origin was
recent
in.
finals or anything.
Yeah,
That it's that crazy.
yeah.
Just where it's
Well, obviously, like
yeah.
I don't mean Origin in terms of like, you know, you look at say like, was it Perth this year
Mm.
or Adelaide? What was it? First game, Perth. I think
Yeah.
it was Perth. Like you could say that was probably better atmosphere than, like as in on the weekend.
Yeah.
Than even that game,
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally.
So, yeah, crazy man. It
Fuck
was
yeah.
Yeah, like my gun of the week was the Warriors as well.
Yeah.
But just the Warriors in general. And I think the big thing we thought was that they were gonna they might struggle with the pressure of like they haven't really played in too many big games, especially that team together. That they might struggle a little bit, but it was to the complete opposite.
Went the other way.
Just
we were
fired
talking
them
about
up.
it like 5 minutes before the game.
Yeah. We were like,
what's
it
it
could,
gonna go?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it almost went the other way and they just fired them up, man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, they were unbelievable.
100%.
Yeah, cool. Who'd you have for your turd of the week, mate?
We could be the same one here, but I had Ashley Klein.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. How could you go past him? Like,
So dirty. And we were like, I messaged you when the draw like got finalised and who was reffing and all that. And I
You
was
said-
like, you have Ashley Klein.
I think he got the shits because we sprayed him last week. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Last week we sprayed him about having a shit game.
Yeah.
With
He's
the
been
Knights
having
and we
them all
just-
year, man.
But like, he just can't control teams, man. Like
Nah, he's too emotional.
he's too emotional. He gives the most amount of penalties away. He can never let games flow. Like they never flow.
Yeah.
And it was on show again, man, from
100%.
the first minute of the game, bro. Like
Yep.
there was just penalty. Like the game never got into it. Like anytime there was started to go set for set in that game, he'd blow a penalty.
Yeah.
Either way.
6 again. Bad miss on
So
a stoppage.
you look at it and you say, well, is it that when he refs that teams are just really, really bad at, discipline and it's only when he refs, or is it the fact that he just gives too many cheap ones away?
Yeah, it's him. Has to be.
Like, you can't give a penalty away every set, bro. Like,
No.
like you know.
Like it's got to be like regular season and finals.
You got to let certain things go, man.
And I thought he kind of did pretty
But
well.
things
in
that
the
he let
second
go
half.
was like weird things.
Yeah.
Like 2 of our players got dropped on their heads.
Yeah.
And it was play on.
Yeah.
You see like someone go even slightly above the horizontal. How strict are they on that at the moment?
Oh, every other week.
So Radley got dropped on his head, and then I think it was maybe Butcher in the second half.
It was Butcher.
Both got dropped above the horizontal, like by far.
Yeah.
And it was play on.
I know.
And it was wild.
Yeah,
man.
even like that last sort of 2 minutes of the game where Harry Grant got head high.
But it should never got to that. I don't think.
No, I agree. But
Because-
that should have been picked up, but then he let that go too.
Well, he let that go, so that's a fuck up that side as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it should have got to that because
Because the fuck up down the other
the
end.
reason they got that because it was the 4th tackle. Like the last 2 minutes of the game, you're not giving away 6 agains or penalties unless it's blatant, man.
and he
it's
did.
just how it's refed. Like people can go, "Oh, it's the letter of the law." I'm like,
Yeah, but there's finals
no,
and there's origin and
if
then
you,
there's
if
normal.
you think that way, you've never watched football enough. Honestly, you don't understand how football works,
100%.
or like you don't watch enough games.
We're kind of
because
living in the grey a bit with the rules.
and it has to be, and it's like that in every single sport. There's a bit of grey across the board, right?
Yeah.
And the way you got to look at that is like, it was a ruck infringement for. I watched it back. It was nothing. It was literally nothing. He's just like getting out of the ruck, clearing the ruck,
Yeah.
and he didn't knock him down again. And and he's just jumped on the ground like they do. You probably see it 2 times every set of 6, right? Like people like these big strong players that can barely run through 3 players. Get a tiny hand on him as the person's walking back to the mark and they jump on the ground again.
Yeah.
And that's caused them to fall over a hand on him. Like, it's the same thing that's happened there. And it's like, well, he's jumped on the ground and they've gone 6 again. So he's given him a 6 again.
It's a
Which
crucial part of the game.
Crucial part of the game.
Could decide it, and it did.
Which then led down to that end where Harry Grant got a head high. Yeah, cool. Like, was it a forceful shot with a shoulder to the head that, was a definite penalty? No. Did he get slapped in the face, which you've probably seen give a penalty more times than not this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
It was like on that line. Yeah.
like the way he was adjudicating the rest of the game, like if he let that shit go all night and he was just very much like put the whistle away and he didn't give that, I could probably put my hands up and be like, well, fair enough. He's been like that all game.
Yeah.
But he was so, and it's how he always refs. He's very much like letter of the law, everything to the point. And then like he didn't call that. So it was almost like changed his own decision
100%.
or like how he refed the whole game.
because he's like, oh, mate, I fucked up earlier with that knock on, or I fucked up with the dropping on the head.
Yeah. And
but it got to even it up. But it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. And I'm one of the most like biggest Roosters fans you'd see, and even I said that I'd say that'd be a penalty.
Yeah.
But I could see why they wouldn't give it because he wouldn't want that to decide the game.
Yeah.
But the way he was
But
reffing,
the 6 again, like 2 seconds before, already was like deciding the game.
But then he was doing that, so it's like he's contradicting his own decisions.
Yeah.
And then we're not even talking about the first half with the fucking Harry Grant
that
thing.
was bad.
We haven't
The
even
whole
brought that
first
up.
half was bad.
Man, just
It's terrible.
I think we didn't have like, I think, what was the percentage rate
it
of
was
that first half?
wild. It was like 70-30 for like a massive chunk of
It was
that
at
first
least
half.
25 minutes,
Yeah.
if not more. It should have been fucking 18-0 at least.
At least.
And we did well to hold them out. And the fact that, they get that cheap
Field position.
field position off, well, like the knock on that they get, and then he gives a penalty off the back of it. So not only does he make an error, he combats the error by giving him a penalty instantly.
Yeah.
And it was just a ruck infringement again. It was nothing.
Didn't they score off that?
And then they scored off it. Yeah. So like,
So it's possibly like a 12-point swing.
yeah.
there.
And in a finals game, you can't make those mistakes, man. You just can't.
I just don't get it as well. Like, yeah, it's all on him because he was standing right there. But also, what about
The bunker can't call. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I'm sure they do though, right? Or where's the touchy? Or like,
Yeah.
Surely
Everyone in the whole ground saw that was a knock on.
that's one of those like blatant ones where you call it because you don't know, and then they can challenge it if they want to.
Exactly.
It.
That's
why we got
right.
to challenge.
You got to call it, and then when it's a dead ball,
Yep.
they can either challenge it.
100%.
If
He
it was
wouldn't have
blatantly that
challenged it.
no, he wouldn't have because he knew he knocked on.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go 50-50 decisions. You got to go with something that will stop the game.
Yep. Give the team a chance.
Give the team a chance to challenge it if it was blatant enough that they think that it wasn't.
Because yous would have challenged it
Oh,
if
yeah.
you had the opportunity.
100%.
But then now they don't. They're like off you if you lay all over them to give a penalty away.
Well, it happened this year.
Yeah.
When Radley was going all those sin bins. Against the Sharks, I think we went down, we were like losing to him, and he went and laid on someone because there was like I think there was like a short kick, and something happened or whatever, and he thought like they knocked on, but he said play on. So Radley came and laid on him, and then he went to the bin, remember?
Yeah.
And he said, I did it because everyone's like, why the fuck would he do that? It was because he was trying to challenge, and then they wouldn't let him challenge as well.
because it's like separate play, and he's like
bin. So they changed it, so you wouldn't
That's
allow
what
him
I'm
to do
saying.
it.
Like, so you can't
do anything.
Nah.
Fuck,
So you're
man.
fucked. Yeah.
So they just make a shit decision, and you
have
can't
to
do
live with it.
anything.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
He was so bad. If he does either of the games this
will.
week or the grand final,
He will.
why?
I don't know.
How is he the best ref? He's the
don't know.
worst.
I don't know.
And everyone knows he's the worst.
I know.
Wild, man.
It is wild. And I bet you he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of leads into our next point anyway. Unibet have refunded all head-to-head bets for the Roosters game.
Yeah.
Basically because of the bad calls and how shit the game was.
Yeah.
You got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt. They are the Roosters sponsor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah,
is
but
it
it's still
kind of
money,
giving back?
right?
Oh, 100%. But is
Yeah.
it like they're kind of doing that as like a marketing scheme to give back to any
Like
Roosters fan?
fans,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't know, right? Like,
Yeah. It could have been, but
still, it's
still
pretty
their
telling,
money, right?
It's pretty telling, man, that for them to
They're not
do
going to
that.
give away money for free. If I mean, they got enough anyway, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. It's good by them, but then
Yeah.
it shouldn't even have been a thing anyway. The ref shouldn't be having like this is what I hate about it. That we're supposed to be talking about how good the game was.
Yeah, and we're talking
How
about shit.
unfortunate, like the way you lost or whatever, way you won. It takes the shine off the Melbourne win. Takes the shine off your season. Got to that and then had to end like that.
Yeah, we go on this massive run and do really well. And, you know, although they won fair and square at the end, you just don't know what would have happened if, because
Those few things.
after that try, we dominated the whole first half, bro.
Yeah.
So what if we were trying, what if they weren't?
You had all the when that.
What if that score wasn't what it was? You know,
yeah,
like-
that Harry Grant knock on that wasn't called. Like Hughes had all the momentum.
We were all the momentum. It swung.
Yeah.
And then we would have had a full set of 6 on their try line, and they're only 6 points ahead of us.
Yeah.
So that could have been.
It would have been
we
a
might
level.
we might have went in at half time in front because we had so much momentum. We weren't only we were only like 4 points down or something at half
100%.
time. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you just don't know.
No, you
and it's
don't.
like you shouldn't have to be going
Yeah.
what if because that shit shouldn't have never happened.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's as we said, it's pretty telling that I've never really seen a betting company do that. Have you?
Neither. No.
Which makes you wonder, was it a marketing thing or like, you don't know, right? Like,
No, you don't know.
yeah,
Probably.
I don't know. It's hard. Like I don't know. I know a lot of people watch and be like, oh, he's just fucking salty. But how can you not be?
You're allowed to be salty.
I'm allowed to be, but like, and I'm not saying, I'm not discrediting Storm from like getting back and winning the game at the end. Like I'm not at all. Like
No.
it's not about that, but the Roosters shouldn't have to deal with, or like any team
Yeah,
shouldn't
you
have
shouldn't
to
have
deal
to be
with.
versing the ref and the
You
team.
just shouldn't have to. Not in professional sport.
No.
When there's, if it was just a ref, I'd understand because refs make mistakes. But you've got touch judges, you've got people with like, how much does it cost for this bunker to fucking run every year? How many TVs do they have in there? Don't they have like 4 people in there watching it?
I think so, yeah.
It's like, well, what? No one saw it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
Nah.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll move on to some other stuff, eh? Yep.
Let's do it.
So there's been obviously reports coming out the last couple of days that Tedesto's going to retain his fullback spot for Australia. They said that they'll try and find spots for Ponga and Walsh.
Yeah. Where though?
Well, I don't know, man. They can't. Neither of them can really play any other position.
No.
They're all 3 of them are pretty much specialist.
Yeah. I mean, Ponga played off the bench for Queensland.
That could be the only the only option I can see is 14.
Yeah.
Right.
But
For
then
all of them.
Ben Hunt's there, right?
Yeah. So what do you do?
Yeah. Because you're not gonna not have Harry Grant and Ben Hunt in the team.
So what do you do?
Yeah. Unless they have him in the squad, maybe like
But they don't play
Ponga
or
will
whatever.
play a game, then the next one Hunt will play off the bench.
Yeah, it's an option.
Maybe maybe one like.
Well, I've seen even Dylan Edwards is in frame for maybe a centre spot.
Yeah.
Because they've got a fair few people out. They've got Val won't probably play.
Nah, Trell.
Trell's out. The Campbell Graham's out.
Turbo's out.
So
there's vacancies there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else is probably in that.
Matt Burton, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of who's normally plays centre that probably won't be there.
Yeah, probably just who we said. Hey, Val Holmes.
Who else is Bradman Best might get in.
Yeah, I heard that.
Who else was our centres this year? They said Tony Staggs might.
Yeah. Campbell Graham.
Who's the... Oh, Hammer. You'd think he'd probably be in with a chance, right?
Yeah.
But then it's funny, like, all these guys are really all fullbacks, man. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy when you think about it.
It is crazy. I think you kind of got to have Dylan Edwards in there for at least for a crack, right? Like, he's probably earned it.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the best fullbacks in the game.
What do you think about Tedesco, though? Like, retaining his spot?
Is it like... This is your like swan song, maybe?
Like his last sort of go around?
Maybe.
I thought he's played really well the last...
I think he has as well.
I don't think he's been as bad as what people have made out all year.
There was like that
I think the Roosters were struggling, so it seemed worse.
Yeah.
But you look at his stats, and actually, like, they never really dropped that much, man. He was he was in a poor performing team.
Yeah.
And anyone... Like,
and then like the Blues tactics probably didn't help him.
Like, for instance, right, if Appy was in the Panthers team this year, do you reckon he'd probably be playing for Australia?
Yeah.
But he's in a shit team, going bad.
Yeah.
Even though he's like one of the best performing players, you're just not going to get the recognition that you...
Yeah, it's like kind of like Fox. Like, he'll probably still play for the Kangaroos.
I don't think he will, bro.
Didn't he get picked already?
I don't think so, did he?
He's playing for the PMs 13 or
PMs are different, though. Like,
I think he'll be in the squad.
Might be.
Yeah. And he was in the World Cup last year.
Yeah, I know. But it's more of reputation, I guess, eh? But, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, is he the best performing fullback in the comp? No. Like, I'm happy to say no. Like, Walsh Ponga, definitely. But there's got to be something to do with, like, incumbency where you just got to,
he's the captain, too.
You got to pick and stick, and he's the captain, and he hasn't gone... that bad that you go, like he can't, shouldn't be there.
And he's never played bad in a Kangaroos jersey.
Never played bad. Like he had I'd say his first 10 to 12 games this season weren't great.
Yeah.
But he weren't horrible either. Like he probably had a couple of shockers. I'm like, not a great game.
Yeah.
But especially the last back end of the year, like especially our run.
Yeah.
Last game of the... everyone forgets how good he was in Origin in the last game. And everyone, like a lot of people, because they have this like mindset of he was that bad, like he's washed and all this stuff. You keep seeing like, he's fucking washed. He should be nowhere near it.
Yeah.
It's like, so they go in with a mindset of him being shit before they even see the game. And then when he does stuff, they try and like I'm not just talking about him, like any players that people already have like opinions on. So they go in with this like clouded mindset of, he's this or that. And then it gets to the point where, like, they have a good game and they go, he fucking did fuck all. Like, he made one break, cool. Like, you know what I mean? It's yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
I get it. I think the proof's in the pudding. Like, he's never played bad for Kangaroos.
No.
He had a good end of the season. Like,
and people are making it out like he's 35, bro. He's fucking 30 years old.
Yeah.
Well, Cherry Evans will probably still get a run, and he's what, fucking...
Yeah.
42,
I know. Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's just like, you can probably hear...
Ben Hunt's older than him.
Yeah, but you can probably hear like the drums banging because like, how crazy Reece Walsh is, how crazy Ponga is. If there wasn't two guys like banging on the door, then there wouldn't be a conversation. But Dylan Edwards maybe.
With the champion team like Australia, there should be 2 or 3 guys banging on the door for every single position.
Yeah. Well, there kind of is,
do you know what I mean?
Right?
There kind of is, but...
Yeah.
It's the same as people forget that, Cherry Evans was the captain for how long? Or like he was sort of like, the incumbent, like, and he still gets runs over Cleary, who's been the best player for fucking the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Why does no one talk about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's just not
it's the same thing, and Mal's done the same with every player. Like, I'm going to back him because I think he's still got a lot to offer, and is he maybe as explosive and all the stuff as like a Walsh and stuff? Maybe not, but is Walsh erratic at times? Does he make a lot of errors? Yeah.
And when the game is on the line, you know what you're going to get from Tedesco.
And it's like, well, exactly. And exactly right, man. You know what you're going to get. He's played with a lot of those guys, maybe. And it's not like a huge tournament where you can sort of.
It's only 4 games
or
something.
Yeah, it's a few games, man.
Yeah.
So it's like, well,
you got to have that cohesion still. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, as I said, they'll be in the squad. I could see Tedesco maybe not playing 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I agree.
And they'll probably go in there, you know. But at the end of the day, the big games and when it matters, I'd say he'll be there, at least for this year anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a report out today that Cleary apparently went to hospital.
Yes,
hurt his hand. Do they know exactly what it was?
Nah, but I seen on.
Do you reckon it was like a dislocation or something? I think it could be.
Maybe it was like a sprain or something like that, but they just wanted to make sure it wasn't like ligament damage or whatever.
Yeah. I reckon he might have dislocated it and then they popped it back in and they just go check to see.
Yeah, true, maybe.
That'd probably the only reason you go to hospital, I would suspect.
Yeah.
Unless, as you said, like it might be bone bruising and they think maybe there's a break in there or something like that.
Yeah, I see it on NRL physio before and it was like, oh, it's a precaution. They don't think it was anything.
Yeah.
I think it'd have to be something pretty decent for him to not play. Like even if there was a little bit of bone bruising or a little fracture, like they just strap it.
Yeah, he'll play, man.
Yeah.
It's only when it works into the hand that, like, if it was anything higher up, like a fracture, that's where it starts to get a bit more dicey because it's easier sort of strapping a finger up and they heal, but the hands, like, you just have to start casting and, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So I could still see him even if he did something that was just like a light fracture of the hand or something that sort of. But you never know. They might just be brushing off something that might be more serious. But it's a perfect example of, like, people go, oh, it doesn't matter who fucking won out of the Roosters Melbourne anyway. Like, you're getting fucked next week. And it's like, yeah, but something might...
Luai might
not play. And then what if, like, Cleary
gets fucked? Like, imagine if he plays and fucks it.
And then all of a sudden, the game's pretty even. Then you've got 2 halves out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you just never know.
Isaac Tungo is still, like, touch and go.
Exactly. You got to be there to bloody...
100%.
To be in it, man.
Yeah, dude.
Be in it to win it.
That's it.
So, yeah, we'll just have to see how that sort of progresses over the week. But I'm sure they'll keep it pretty quiet no matter what, eh?
100%.
Knowing them.
Yeah.
Kurt Mann, Drew Hutchison, apparently signed with the Bulldogs.
Your favourite and my favourite.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't mind Hutcho if he's playing where he's supposed to play.
Yeah.
But this thing of him being Orbison, I think Robbo figured it out like halfway through the year.
He did, yeah.
Because he was like playing him and he's like, oh, he's just another Orbison, blah, blah. And then he got absolutely smoked one week in the centres and it just from then, other than he played in those few games as a backup half, I think he just figured it out and he's like...
He's not Orbo.
Like, this week was a perfect example. If he thought he was Orbo, why was he not in the squad
100%.
in the centres?
When he had no one.
He had no one. Yeah. And he brought back Momirovski and fucking Corey Allen,
yeah.
who both I thought played pretty well.
Corey Allen definitely played like his best game.
Oh, he was good. Yeah, he was good. He's pretty solid like backup.
Yeah.
Like centre or whatever if you need him.
Yeah.
And I think Momirovski will leave at the end of the year anyway, but
probably, yeah.
Yeah. No, like good signing for him as a backup, I don't know. Like Kurt Mann will definitely play. I don't think Hutcho will.
Yeah, well Kurt Mann will be like either the starting 13 or 14, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like, you know how my dislike for Kurt Mann, and it's not him.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way they're playing him all the time, and I was like,
he just doesn't have a position.
No.
I think that's the issue.
Yeah, and it's like, why? When we have a bench spot we can fill with a forward or whatever. But
he's that weird body frame and size that, like, he's too slow to be a half. He's too slow and not like skillful enough to be a half, right? He's not big enough to be like a lock or a forward, I don't think.
No.
And then he's kind of like, if you play him at 14, he's not really a dummy half either.
No.
So and then he can't just play as a out and out forward.
No,
he's too
he
little.
sort of just comes on as like a ball playing 13.
So it's like, what is he? Like, it's so I feel like that's always been his issue.
Yeah, he's like a victim of his own. Like he's like a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
But a master of none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But none of it really works.
No.
Like, he's just in the middle of everything.
And I think like it's maybe pulled the wool over my eyes the last 10 weeks because we've been winning.
Yeah.
It's like easy to be going well in
it doesn't mean
team,
he's winning it for you though.
Exactly
like,
right. Yeah.
You still have a weak link in your team and win at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. We did.
Yeah.
Kurt Mann.
Yeah. I think he'd do well. Like, I thought he'd do well over in the UK because the game's a
Same.
bit like slower,
Yeah.
and it's like
Probably
not
like
as
carve up
skillful
as
and
like
shit. And he'd probably be like,
13.
yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of Super League games yesterday. Actually, I was watching like, I watched like Catalan's game and stuff, and just the quality of play. It's just so slow and
Right.
like it's just not at the same level, man. And
It's no wonder like people go over there from NRL and just carve, get man of steals and shit.
yeah, well, I was watching it because it's like Piercy's playing his last few games really, and then he's done. And he was obviously he was one of my favorite players growing up as a kid because he's like similar age to me. I think he's only a couple years older, so it was like
he debuted when he was fucking 17.
17. So it was like I was like 15 or 16, and I sort of watched him the whole sort of like growing up. So I just wanted to sort of watch a couple of games of him and see if he's like how he actually looks playing and like
How did he look? Slower.
He just looks slower. Yeah, he looks old, bro.
He still have like the footy now. So.
100%. He there's this one play I'll show you after, but fuck, what's that fullback that played for the Warriors for a bit, and he went back. Tompkins.
Tompkins, yeah.
Yeah. Oh fuck, he did this one play and it was like, it looked so ridiculously nice, but I just don't think it would have happened in NRL.
Right.
It was fucking nice in this little show and go, and it fooled the defense so badly, and like it looked unbelievable this play, but like if that was if it was in the NRL, I just don't think it would have led to it.
Yeah.
People he dummied to no one inside play, like no one would fall for that, but they're all like, oh, what the fuck, and like he was gone by, this cunt's running around. He's like 35 as well,
True. Yeah.
But
hectic.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh yeah, Drew Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Kurt Mann. So yeah, Kurt Mann, as we sort of said, goodish signing for him. I don't know where he'll play in their team.
I don't know either. It'd have to be 14. Maybe he'll just be.
Well, who's their 13?
Well, it was Thompson, wasn't it?
But he might be coming to the Roosters.
Maybe. If not, he will probably stay in the front row.
Well, they've got no front rowers next year.
No.
Bulldogs.
If they get rid of Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got no TPJ.
Mate, I did.
For Taylor Mariner's going.
I did see a report that
maybe Takayaho. That's about it.
They were looking at Alex Twal.
Right. Yeah.
Because Tigers have given him permission.
Well, I saw he might be on a Manly.
Ah, right. I didn't see that.
Because Manly have no one as well.
Yeah.
So I saw Manly. So
yeah, because who they got? They got like Paseka and
they've got LIA. They were supposed to have Lodge, but he's done his ACL.
Yeah.
Woodsy, I think he might be there another year.
Yeah.
But
still pretty skinny though,
it's
right?
pretty skinny. There's not too many there.
No.
Bullymore probably he's kind of like a forward. He's kind of like an Egan Butcher type. Like he's a little forward.
He plays second row or front row. Yeah.
Who's there? Oh yeah, and then you got Jake as well. He plays in.
Yeah.
He can play lock or front row, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, they don't know. Yeah, it's weird. Well, they reckon they've got like 8 signings or some shit. They're going to announce soon. So
it's interesting to see
if it's like big, like it can't be big names because no one, like you'd know about it.
Yeah.
Right. You'd think.
Surely it's not like any more backs.
The only thing I can think of is players that like just want to get out of their club and the clubs are granted them permission to leave at the end of the year kind of thing. And they're like those like mid-fringe, like
played a couple games,
might be scraping into the team type vibe. You know what I mean? Like I could see maybe a couple of those happening.
Yep.
You reckon?
Yeah, I just like think we would have heard whispers, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, you'd think.
But so it can't be like a massive name.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it is, then fucking good on them.
Yeah.
I've not heard about it.
Yeah. And then Hutcho, it's a weird one, but it must just be a depth signing.
Have to be.
Because I guess they're losing like Flano.
Yeah.
They don't really have any backup halves that I know of.
No,
they got Katoa, I guess. Is it Katoa? What's his name?
Oh, no. Yeah. No, Katoa's at Dolphins.
Fuck yeah, what's his name?
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. The young guy that they
sort of played half
Broncos.
and then
Yeah. But they got like Sexton.
Yeah, true. But like that's what I mean. It's
Sexton, Matt Burton.
Yeah.
That young guy that we can't remember his name. Hutcho. Kurt Mann can play 6. Yeah, it's quite a bit of depth, but
they just must
they've
have
needed depth.
The Roosters must have just had no money to like retain him because
Have to be.
there's no reason he would have left. He only signed a 1 year deal, so it's not like he signed a like.
Yeah, 3 years.
They offered him a 3 year like, oh, you're gonna be.
You're the guy.
You're stable,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, and Roosters only offered one or something. It's a 1 year deal. He's probably in the same boat as what he was at the Roosters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not
100%.
He's like a sort of a fringe. If there's someone injured, he might go in.
Yeah.
But you'd almost say, even for us, that I'd say Sandon Smith's probably
ahead
he's
of him.
pushed himself
Yeah.
ahead of him as well.
For
so
sure.
I think if one of them are out,
I
he
thought
probably drops
when
in.
he came, like, just talking about
We'll
him,
talk about it in a bit. Anyway.
Yeah. He was gone.
He was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it for that one, man. Let's talk about the Willie Mason chat. What do you reckon?
He just needs to, like...
Do you want to get it up just so people, I know that most people have seen the quote, but
Yeah.
for all of those of you
So
who
we
didn't,
like, what, all of the chat? Like, the
just
one
what he
last
said.
week or
Nah,
the one-
like
the recent
most people probably know about that, but at least what he's like wrote back now. Just give context for what it was about, anyway.
one? Okay. I was going to fucking find it.
Well, basically, like, he called out Gamble, saying that he's not, well, like the halves saying they're not very good, and it's not him. It's basically been Ponga that's the reason why they've gone on this run, and then he basically told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
That's basically the
like...
the gist of it, anyway.
Yeah.
But then they've obviously lost on the weekend, and then Willie thought it was a good time to hit back.
I'm trying, mate. I'm trying.
Just wait for it.
I'm trying to find if I can think.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't think it was really Gamble's fault. I think none of the team didn't really like show up though, eh?
Oh,
like,
no,
you
for
couldn't
sure.
really blame
No,
it on
it's not
him.
his
So
fault.
I think it's a bit harsh. But what does it say?
So basically, Willie said after that game, there could not be a bigger hole that Tyson Gamble wants to crawl into right now. Pick your battles, boy. You are below average. It's pretty like, I don't know, like, I like got respect for Willie and stuff. Like singling like guys out like he did. Well, he singled out the spine and then Tyson brought back bit at him. But like singling these young guys out that he like probably looked up to Willie. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of not cool a bit.
And it wasn't necessary. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what was the point of it?
No point.
Is it purely for content, for levels? Like, I don't know.
Must be,
like,
because all they, like what he said.
is it so then people go to level? Like, because he wrote it and then he wrote at levels.
At levels, yeah.
So is it just to boost levels?
Yeah,
like,
it's like clickbait.
Because they got on fucking, what's it called, last week as well? 360. Yeah. 360 like reshared them, and then they apparently, as I watched it last week, and Justin said like, their followers went up by like a couple thousand or some shit.
True.
So like, is it just
like
to that?
clickbait.
Like, it could be.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like, what? So you to get clickbait for your show, you know, like you hit out against a young guy who's done fucking well.
Yeah.
Like he shouldn't, at the start of the year, man, he wasn't even in your fucking team.
100%.
So he's worked his way into the team. He's been a solid player all year for you guys.
Yeah.
Is he the most crafty, fucking skillful half ever?
He's having a crack
he's not.
every game.
But he rips in.
Yeah.
He has that cunt in him that everyone wants to play with. Like I guarantee Willie could name at least 5 players that he played with for the Dogs. How he talks about the Dogs all the fucking time. Like that probably weren't as gifted as, you know, the Sunny Bills and the fucking all these cunts.
Yeah.
But they wanted to play with because they rip in and they,
100%,
you know,
yeah.
and I guarantee he'd be the first to tell you that those guys are the ones that make the team, not the other ones.
100%.
And that's what he is.
Yeah.
Then he should be able to know that and see that.
It's clickbaity as fuck.
It is, eh?
And he just like knew get a bite.
I think it's pretty
like
poor
Tyson.
form, mate.
Oh yeah, I
honestly
agree.
do.
Yeah. It's pretty rough. Like, yeah, just even just singling out the Knights' spine, being like they're the worst spine in the comp if they don't have Ponga.
Yeah, that's rough, dude.
Like, come on.
Like Hastings isn't bad.
No, Crossland's been great.
Yeah. Mustn't be that fucking bad. How many? What'd you win? 9 in a row.
10 straight.
10 straight.
Yeah. And like Bulldogs finished fucking 15th.
Is it? I love that because it's like, are you saying that off of like the names, or like are you actually watching the games?
I don't know.
Because
dude.
correct. Like you look at Crossland, yeah, cool. He's not a starting 9. Well, after this season, he probably is.
He is.
You know what I mean? Like
has to be.
He'd walk into a lot of teams.
Fuck yeah.
I could probably go through a few teams that he'd fucking walk straight into, bro. They
For
don't have
sure.
9s.
Bulldogs probably.
Oh, yeah. Reed Marnie hasn't been that great.
No.
I'd say he played better than Reed Marnie this
100%.
year. And how much is fucking Reed Marnie on?
Fucking 700 or something. How much is Phoenix on?
Exactly.
220?
Yeah. He'd walk into our team at the start of the year.
For sure.
Like, Brandon Smith was good the last 6 weeks, but fucking shit before
He's been
that.
one of the informed dummy halves in the comp.
Exactly.
Yeah. For half a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Nah, it's just rough.
Yeah.
Bit rough.
He'd almost walk into the fucking Broncos team, bro.
Yeah. We've been playing better than Billy.
He'd probably start in the Panthers team.
Mm.
I reckon
He's been great.
He's been better than Mitch Rain.
Has to be.
Is that his name?
Mitch Kenny.
Mitch Jenny, sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know his name. That's how shitty he is.
Oh, fuck.
But yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Poor form.
Fucking Mitch Rain.
Fucking Mitch Rain.
Dog.
So many names, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So there's been some shit come out about the advantage the Broncos get this week playing at Suncorp for another week, where Penrith have to move their game to
Allianz or Accor or something.
And Panthers CEO Brian Fletcher's come out and said that all games or like the prelim game should be played at a neutral venue.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad of an idea, man.
I don't think it is. I kind of see it from...
Does the
like,
game lose money? Maybe.
Yeah.
Because if you play in a neutral venue, maybe two, like, you know.
I think, like, I agree with it in parts. Like, I can see it from that side.
I understand
like,
the first week of the finals, the second week.
Yeah.
Prelims, it's like, if whatever you've done to get the prelims, no one should really have an advantage there.
I think
you've both done really well to get to that
but I think
position.
it's just like that's your reward for finishing first and second.
Well, your
winning.
reward should be getting the week off, bro.
Yeah.
Your reward should be getting that first final, and if you can win that, it's getting a week off. That's your reward.
Then it's like reset.
And then it resets, man. You know, I don't think your reward should be a run into the fucking... Why do you never see teams outside the top 4 win the finals?
I wonder...
They get every single thing from there. So it's like, it's almost like you get too much for finishing the top 4.
I wonder if it was the Warriors, right? They finished first or second.
It wouldn't be over there, bro. I'm telling you now.
But technically it should be if Broncos get it.
I don't think it... Well, why do Panthers have to move? This is the whole point.
What do you mean?
Why are they having to move their game?
Because it's not it's a suburban stadium.
Wasn't the Warriors?
What's in their own country? Is that like
So?
their main capital city?
Yeah, but it's in a suburban country. Or city. Doesn't have to be over a certain amount of fucking people. That's the whole
capacity
point.
or whatever. Yeah,
Isn't that the point?
I think so. Yeah,
That's the only reason that it's down here still.
Yeah.
Or up here still.
yeah. I don't know.
I think it has to be over like 30,000 or some
Yeah.
shit. I don't think the Warriors holds 30,000.
I think it does.
I doubt it, bro. They don't even have fucking sides.
They have
on
like union fucking.
they don't even
shit
have
over
ends.
there.
They've only got the two.
That was at that one.
No, bro. I don't think it would have over 30.
Union's so big over there. Surely
I'm
they have.
looking it up.
Yeah, look it up.
What stadium is it?
It was Mount Smart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called now. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I just think the Broncos play way too many games at Suncorp anyway. Like I think they left Queensland 5 times this year. Like with
25,000.
Yeah, okay, right. What about just Google like
They don't have any ends, dude.
biggest stadium in?
They've just got those 2 big stadiums and they've got like the fucking hills. That's it.
But like, what about other stadiums? It's a rugby union fucking place. Surely there's room for people there.
What? Yeah, I know, but like,
I don't
the
know.
NRL don't help them at all, dude. Like they're never gonna do it. Like the Penrith Stadium is only 22 and a half, so it's not that much shorter. So you'd have to look at that and go, well, they probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they'd have to.
But then it's like, well, why do Broncos get to stay? Yes,
So
for
it
the
should just
crowd.
be neutral ground, bro.
Yeah. Yeah,
What's
think it's
neutral
fine.
if like one team's from Australia and one team's from New Zealand, just play in the water somewhere halfway over.
on a boat?
Just find an island. Just find an island in the middle.
Christmas Island or whatever it is. Yeah.
Just get a big cruise ship and put a footy stadium on it.
Could do.
Like,
But yeah, I don't know. I think they'll look at it, I reckon. Because this is like the first time it's sort of been brought up, right?
yeah.
I think it has to be looked at, but I don't think it'll get changed.
Yeah, like you look at the AFL's the same, bro. Like, you know, the exact same things happened. I think the Lions finished second this year. They got a home final. They won. Got a week off.
Now
They've
they'll
got a
play the
home
Gabba
final
again.
again.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, The Dabba doesn't hold that many. So
No.
like what, 40?
Yeah,
Something like that?
when they could go to Melbourne and get
Melbourne get-
100,000.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
probably not that much for Brisbane game, but they'll probably get.
They would
they'd
probably
get
verse
90.
a Melbourne team. So.
Yeah, well, like Carlton and fucking Melbourne this week got 96.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's holds. I don't get this right. This is actually not irrelevant, but it's sport. So sport.
Let's stick with sport podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I saw at the end of the. I watched the last quarter after the Roosters game. I needed to take my mind off of it, so flicked it over. Fucking crazy game that last quarter.
What game?
Carlton Melbourne.
Yep.
And they won in the last minute. Like literally kicked a goal, win by like I think they're in put them in front by a point. And they kicked it behind right at the end, but it was like hectic, man, crazy game. And there was 96,200 or something there, and they said something like it was the biggest crowd since the grand final in like 2013 or some shit. And I'm like, how
How?
does
Don't
that make sense?
sell it out?
It gets sold out every grand final, doesn't it?
Yeah. Unless there's like bits.
How does that make sense?
Maybe there's like bits under construction or bits like getting refurbished or whatever.
I don't know,
That are
dude.
closed
I
off
don't
to
think
the
it
public.
is.
I don't fucking know. Well, I'm not the guy.
They never refurbish shit.
I'm not the guy that knows the shit.
I'm just
but
saying. I thought that was
yeah.
a fucking weird thing.
That
when
was
I
a
heard
weird
that,
thing,
I was
yeah.
like, how?
I would expect it if it holds 100,000, they sell 100,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Every grand final, every
Yes.
final.
Strange.
It is strange.
Very strange.
Yeah.
But how that? Yeah, it could be crazy in that because Carlton haven't been in the finals for fucking ages, bro. Like,
Didn't Carlton win last year?
no.
Who won last year?
Can't remember last year.
I thought it was those guys.
Nah, Melbourne won the
Oh,
year
no, it was
before.
Geelong Cats.
Geelong won last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Geelong, Melbourne won the year before, and I think maybe the Tigers won the year before that.
Right.
I think. I don't know much, so don't hold me to that.
I
But
hear people saying that Lions are good to go.
well, they've been good to go for about 3 years, bro. But they just can't win finals.
So then
So
my mate at work says Collingwood's the one to beat.
well, Collingwood were on the other draw, so
Yeah. They could verse each other in grand final.
they could. That probably is the most likely. But I think Carlton have been on like some crazy run.
Yeah. Who have they got this week?
Brisbane.
Okay, right.
So,
and
yeah.
then Collingwood have.
Collingwood have GWS,
Oh, yeah, right.
who have been going good too.
So imagine if GWS and Brisbane Lions
Well, this
got
is
in
the
it.
thing. This is what I was about to say to you.
Yeah.
It's like it's funny because it's like it could be like Carlton and Collingwood, who is like that would literally be like it'd be like a Roosters South grand final.
Yeah, they're like big rivalry.
the biggest, oldest rivalry teams, like
Yeah.
with the best or like the biggest fan. Like I'm not saying the Roosters and the South have the biggest fan bases, but like
No, but it's like the most
the
ingrained in the
most
game.
ingrained
Yeah,
in the game and the oldest, and like
Yeah.
they both have the biggest fan bases in the whole of like
Yeah.
the AFL.
Yeah.
And that game would be like the most epic thing, and it would just be packed to the rafters, man. Like
It'd be like a Roosters
fucked.
Rabbitohs grand
It would
final.
be which would never happen, right? But it would be absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Or it could be Brisbane and GWS.
Yeah.
It'd be like no one there.
Nah. That'd be hectic.
It would be fucking
or it'd
crazy.
be like
It'd be okay.
someone versus
It
someone.
could be someone versus someone,
Yeah.
but like it'd
But
be
if it was
funny
that-
if it was
yeah,
that. Like
that'd be
everyone's like,
sick.
"Fuck, this is sick," and then it would just be that, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh."
It-
I think like Brisbane, Collingwood would be good to see because
the best teams all year.
they're the best teams.
It's like
it's the same as Broncos,
Panthers
Panthers.
versus-
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. They're probably the two best teams. But even saying that, like, although they're been the best teams, like the last part of the season, you'd almost say Carlton have been
kind of like the Knights of the AFL.
or like the
shot
Warriors.
their way in.
The Warriors kind of
Yeah.
like been on this good run, and they're like the team that like you didn't think would ever be there, but
Yeah.
they're like still there, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like it's kind of like that.
Now
right?
they're one win away from the grand
Yeah,
final.
like probably not gonna win, but could easily win, and
Yeah.
it's kind of the
And
same
if,
as
and
like
if they did, we would be like, wow, what
yeah,
a year.
and it's the same because it's Broncos, Warriors, Brisbane,
Yeah.
Carlton. It's like
Yeah.
it could happen, man.
Could
It's
ha-
crazy.
yeah,
It's very
100%.
similar. It's weird how like
It is crazy.
both
after a whole year of like
both
two
have
different
finished pretty
codes, they
similar.
kind of like pretty same.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about AFL. but fucking hell.
Just before we move on, do we want to touch like quickly on the NRLW?
I was about to bring that up.
Okay, sweet.
That was my next point.
Fuck me, right? Must be one reader.
So one thing I did want to bring up was the Roosters coach. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
Strange.
Strange, yeah.
Yeah.
He came out and said that they're very much. They could go backwards if it expands too quickly, and I feel a little bit. You've seen that a bit this year.
Yeah.
I thought last year it was really peaked with its quality.
Yeah.
And I feel like adding those new teams this year, it's kind
diluted the pool of players a bit too much.
The Roosters had to sign their strength and conditioning coach this week just to make up the field of players to play.
Right.
If you're doing that, you might be stretching a bit thin.
Yeah.
You know, professional sport, and you're signing coaches to fill the teams.
Yeah.
Because of injuries.
It's stretching it too far.
I think so.
I think it's like...
I don't think they can add any more next year.
No,
not for like a couple years.
Yeah. They need to just like let the younger girls come through.
Yes.
Get like a consistent competition where it's pretty even. Like I saw a thing today that said all the expansion teams that come in, they didn't make the finals. Or they haven't. There's only 4 teams, but like Knights finished on top.
Yep.
Roosters, Broncos, and
but then even the Roosters, like you're saying, the Roosters, they've got no players left, bro. They're all injured.
Yeah, I know. Now but they've like had a good year.
They had a good year, yeah.
But then now it might fall over just because they're lack of players, right?
Yes.
But there's no expansion teams that made it to the top 4.
Yeah.
So
they've got to also understand, like, girls are just more inclined to pick up injuries as well. They're just like and serious injury too. Like, for instance, like NRL physio put this up. I kind of know because I do like strength and conditioning. Like, it's kind of like my job, right? And I know that like when we get younger girls in, we need to teach them landing mechanics better. So girls naturally they have wider hips because they're born that way babies. Because they have babies, so they need to have wider hips. So their landing mechanics are different to boys. They land and their knees buckle a lot more, so they're way more susceptible to ACL injuries than males. Like, for instance, NRL physio put this up. So the NRLW have only had 45 games so far this year. They've already had 6 ACL injuries. Excuse me. The NRL have had 218 games and they've had 7.
Right.
So there's been...
And that has nothing to do with like full-time training and all that. It's just the body.
There's a couple of things. One is probably a lot of these girls at this age, I'd say they came through at schools and shit where there was no S&C in the schools or anything. You think about when we were at school, there was no such thing as S&C. Nah. You heard a lot when you were like a kid, or, you know, doing weights will stunt your growth, which is just complete horse shit. Like, it's complete opposite of what you do now, right?
Yeah.
He even wrote here, female athletes are 8 times more likely to do their ACL than males.
Yeah, right.
8 times.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, you look at that shit and you've got to take that stuff into account as well. There's more injuries, man. Like, girls don't have, just naturally, like, it's not because, like, oh, they're fucking females or whatever. It's like, no, they naturally don't put on muscle the same as guys. So, you know, in off seasons, what normally happens, well, S&C coaches will tell you as well, they'll try and, you know, put more size on players, like a little bit more size, which acts as body armor, right? You're doing collision.
It's a collision sport.
Sport. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to build more body armor. How do you build more body armor? Well, more muscle. But then you got to be very careful. If you build too much muscle, it can also, you know, like you want to build more upper body muscle, things like that. If you build too much muscle, you're putting too much strain in the body, especially if they're coming back into preseason. What are you normally doing more in preseason? You're running more. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's lots of
like
different
pressure
bits.
on your joints.
Exactly.
You're heavier. And,
and so all this stuff that people don't realize is very sports sciencey, but it's what it is these days, man. And, you know, if you do this shit with the females and, you know, a lot of them aren't designed, like their bodies aren't designed to carry huge amounts of muscle. So you put huge amounts of muscles on them and what normally happens? Well, they break down. They get soft tissue injuries, you know,
sprains and strains.
All this stuff, you know, so... it's a couple things. It's probably not learning or not getting the fundamentals of strength training as kids or as youth is what we do a lot at my gym now. Is a lot of young, but most of the people we train are young girls. Because they just don't have, you know, well, like a lot of them don't get that support at schools. So you see a lot of the all boys schools and stuff these days. They'll have these amazing gyms, and girls are getting that way. Like we obviously do S&C at all girls private school, which has awesome gym.
Yeah.
But that's only been around the last, 5-10 years maybe, man.
Yeah.
Like you haven't really seen
It's
it
like
that
still
much.
catching up to the
Exactly.
to the boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still this like,
And that's like the divide.
they just
you
need
see
to
in
be
the
careful
comp,
with
right?
it, bro. Because if they go too far, like too quickly,
They're going to
it's just-
sacrifice the quality of the
quality
game.
will drop, and it's
Yeah.
already dropping, as we said. Like,
Yeah.
there's been some cool games on this year, man. I've definitely watched a fair few.
I love watching it.
Yeah,
The
I
good
said,
teams are great to watch.
Yeah, like
The new teams are not as much.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just quality. Yeah, you know what I mean. It'll change a bit, hopefully, but they just need to hold for a bit.
We need quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the more it's around, more girls will want to get into it.
100%.
But then that crop of people have to come through still.
You got to let it happen.
It's still trying to happen in 2
No.
years. Those kids are probably still at school.
Yeah, league's only like the men's game's only the way it is because it's been like that for the last over 100 years.
Exactly.
It's generational, just being like, all right,
But
come
then
in
you
better,
also look this year. What are they also now competing with?
What AFLW?
No. What's happened a lot this year? Think about it. What was the biggest thing that happened this year with female sport?
Oh, the Matildas. Yeah.
So now they're competing with soccer.
Yeah.
And what would you rather your daughter playing?
Oh, soccer.
So this is the other thing,
Yeah.
right? So now it's like, So they just got to be careful. They just can't go too much too quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about it for all those. Do you have anything else you want to talk about in news?
No,
No.
we covered it all.
Covered it all. Obviously, we talked a lot about the Roosters Knights so far, but it is the end of our season. So whenever any team have dropped out, obviously we've had a bit of a season review.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Roosters Knights. Let's talk about. We'll go the Knights first, man. How do you
Let's do
reckon?
I think it was two separate comps in the year for us. The first half was pretty poo. A lot of like confusion about how the direction we're going to go in, like with Ponga with his head knocks and playing six and Brayley out. Like, what the fuck are we going to do?
Do you reckon that was his call? Because there's been a lot of shit come out saying that Ponga said he wanted to play in the halves, and Adam O'Brien was like, "Yes, like we'll just do that."
I think it was a collective call to be like, the club needs you at fullback.
No, I mean like at the start of the season. Though.
Yeah, I think it was his call.
Why though? Why should that be? Shouldn't that be the coach's call?
Yeah, but if a player wants to play, if your gun guy, it's like Latrell playing fullback. He probably should play centre, right?
Yeah,
But he's great fullback and he wants to be fullback.
but if Teddy come to you and goes, "I want to play six," would
They'd
you?
probably make it work.
I think you'd be like, "No, mate, you're
Teddy
a one."
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'd just say, "No, you're a one." Like, I don't.
But then
I
he'll
think
be
players,
like, I'll kick stones and I'll go play fullback somewhere else.
I just don't think players should be deciding. Like
Yeah, no, but like
you're saying that I'd go play somewhere else,
right?
but they've just invested into him on $1.4 million a year. You play where we fucking tell you, mate. You're getting 100.
Yeah, but then that's when you get salty people that don't want to be there.
I don't think he would have, man, over playing a different position. It's not like they're not playing him at all,
Yeah.
or putting him on the fucking wing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
You know?
think it was probably his call, and it came up years ago when Nathan Brown was there, and they gave it a crack and it didn't work.
Yeah,
but he
or-
didn't let it happen for long enough. But then
Well, they haven't either.
no, I know
Really?
it was the head knocks, right?
I know.
and which we talked about in the
But
start.
we
of the
knew it was
year.
going to happen at the start of the year, man.
So I think surely that has to put it to bed now.
He has to stay at one.
He's one of the best fullbacks in the game, and the last half of this year proved it when he got games together.
The issue is, you wonder if when he gets older, right? He has a different game style to say like Teddy. Like he's going to get older and he'll stay at one until he probably retires.
Lose that explosiveness and
But
evasiveness.
he's built off effort rather than explosiveness, like effort and strength. Like he can break the line through his weird moves and his fucking strength, right? Whereas you look at like a Ponga, probably happened to Walsh as well, but you'd almost see him moving into six later on as well.
Yeah.
And which happens, right? It's normally a progression where they slow down, you move into six. You look at Moylan, you look at fucking
Lockyer.
Lockyer, all these players. It's sort of what the progression. You can't really see that happening with Ponga. And it's
His whole skill set is that
could he do it?
explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would they move him into the line older with head knock injury
Probably
or
not.
like history? I don't think they would. And then you start to go, well, what happens then?
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. Yeah.
And he's on 100, like we'd be on maybe like maybe a mil by then. What's he on, like a 4-year deal now? 4 or 5 year deal?
Ponga.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on 1.3.
Yeah, but what was his deal? Like how long was it?
That was 5 years, I think.
5 years.
2027.
How old is he now? Like 26?
25 or 26.
25, 26. So he's going to be like 30.
Nearly 30, yeah. Probably get one more big contract. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're running a risk. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Because you don't okay, you'd start losing your step. We can't play you in the line. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have the explosive.
Yeah.
You look at but a great example is like Benji, even though he was a half. What was he built on? He was built on that Sean Johnson.
That flashy stuff.
You know?
Yeah,
But they were
Sean
in
Johnson's like just grown that
perfect
extra.
thing, but then he plays in the halves, so
Yeah.
it didn't have to change too
No.
much in the defense. But it's like he's going to have to adapt, but you can't really adapt too much as a fullback. You know what I mean? You have to sort of stay the same a little bit.
Yeah, it sort of happened with Jared Hayne, right? Like didn't he when he went into 6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't really work because he's just
the fullback.
Yeah. Players are really good for a certain position because they play to that position.
Way.
Exactly, yeah. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, man, like I guess, once you sort of figured that out and played him at 1.
Yeah. I think I don't want to talk about Ponga too much because like there was a massive team performance, right?
You know what I think it was a lot this year, which I thought was the more of the catalyst of your whole season and why you did well, was your defense.
Yeah.
And your defensive attitude.
Yeah.
It was like you didn't mind defending, which I haven't seen in fucking, I can't even remember.
Except for on the weekend.
I know. It was like back to the old, but
that was like our worst,
You just shit yourselves, I think, man. It was one of those weird ones, you know?
Yeah, we talked about it when we were watching it.
Yeah.
It was Knights of Old, but I think it was just like
it was pressure, bro.
Yeah.
Like
we hadn't been
Bradman Best has been your best defender all year.
And he was
horseshit.
Yeah.
That one where they ran straight in, I think it was the second or first.
Try, yeah.
It was like, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah,
as soon as you saw that, you knew they weren't up for it.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like, as soon as I saw that, alarm bells straight away because I was like, if he's letting in something like that, you're fucked. You know what I mean?
100%,
so,
yep. But yeah, no, I think like the Brayley injury earlier in the year, I wouldn't say it's a blessing in disguise. But I think for Phoenix Crossland's development, it's probably been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because if we can keep both of them now, it has to be a rotation, right?
Yeah, we were sort of saying the other week, I think one will start, one will sort of
has to
be more of a bench player. I think
Brayley's maybe the bench guy.
Well, I think he has to be. He's been too, and not because of how bad he or like good or bad he is, just purely with his injury record, man. You can't play him for long periods. He just clearly his body doesn't hold up.
When you think about it too, like I was thinking about the other day, like what really has Brayley done?
Nothing
in terms of the comp.
Nothing.
So like Phoenix Crossland, he's probably played himself into that starting 9 jersey.
I agree.
And he's on a quarter of the money.
You rather him, he's not as silky as someone like a Brayley.
No.
You'd almost rather start him, do 20, 25, 30 minutes, bring Brayley on either side of half time.
Yeah.
That's when he can put that little bit of silk around the rock.
But the effort is like all Phoenix.
Yeah, and then you can bring Phoenix back on for the last bit, man. And that's your rotation.
Yeah.
That's how I'd play it, probably.
100%.
Like moving forward. At least you figured that out.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things. And our halves, like we've been missing a good pair of halves for a while. And I think maybe Gamble and Hastings for the next year or two, like they'll do a job.
It'd be interesting what they do with like Cogger for next year.
Yeah.
It's a weird signing.
It is a weird signing.
Are they getting rid of Clunes?
Yeah, Clunes. Yeah. So that's like that depth signing.
Yeah.
But Cogger could maybe if it was like Tigers, it'd be a walk up start.
Yeah. It'd be interesting, like if they start struggling at all next year.
Yeah.
If they make the change
like
pretty
who
quickly.
goes out? Like Hastings or
you'd think it would be more of a gamble.
But then they're similar like organising halves, right?
Exactly.
Gamble was more the off the cuff.
Saying that he's playing 6 at the moment.
He is,
and he's doing pretty well. He played well last week.
And maybe that's the thing, less sign of things to come. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, like I think just your attitude changed somewhere across the year and just put you on that run. And
yeah, I think maybe a light bulb moment for them was getting beaten by 1 point from the Panthers when they were at full strength. Getting beaten by 4 points by the Broncos when we went to Suncorp and watch.
Yeah, and they should have won that.
And we should have won, but that wasn't even when we were on a run or anything, right? It was like, fuck, maybe we can actually mix it with these
the big
teams,
boys, yeah.
If we defend well.
Even when like Penrith, you nearly got them up, but there was like they didn't play well, but like you saw something there. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just that you still, even though they weren't playing well. It was like you had that defensive, like, you know,
just could turn them away.
Yeah.
And like we versed Penrith twice this year, and they beat us by 9 points total for the whole both games. Like that's not many teams could say that.
You've turned a corner, man, and I think it's definitely something you can build on next year.
I think
like you're keeping the core of that team.
Yeah.
There's not really anyone going in and out.
No, like sad, obviously sad to lose like Dom Young and shit.
There's some fringies that'll go in and out, and then like your Dom Young, you'll need to replace him, but I'm sure you'll get.
Yeah, we've got a couple of
wingers you can replace, bro.
I think we missed Fitzgibbon a lot on the weekend.
100%. I said that to you before it started, or as it was started.
Like he's going to be a big loss too. Going to UK, but we do have a centre and a second rower coming over. Those ones I told you about a while ago.
Isn't that Pierce Paul or whatever?
Kai Pierce Paul.
I watched him play the other day.
And Will Price. Super League. Was he good?
Yeah, he's all right.
He's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays for Wigan, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
They fucking carved up
And
someone.
Will Price, I think maybe he plays for the same team.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like 5'8" or
Yeah.
centre or something.
Yeah.
But the wings, obviously, we need to.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, like with Adam O'Brien, like everyone was calling for his head. We were calling for his head.
Yeah, I wasn't saying he had to be sacked, but I was like,
it was like
it's getting to a point where it's like you can't really back him anymore,
they
man.
sack Holbrook for less, it seems.
Exactly.
They were going right. And yeah, he was obviously the next one on the block, but fucking switched at the right time.
Around,
yeah.
Well, like they said, like we were talking about last week about him getting a new contract, but there's been rumours that he's like he hasn't signed. Well, he said he came out.
He's already got a year left on his contract anyway.
So he said he's going to
go on holiday,
and talk about it after.
About it, which is fine. Like it's been a massive year for him.
Yeah,
like a fucking
big
roller coaster year.
100%. Go have a holiday, chill out for a couple of weeks,
chill with your family, and then sort it out in November.
Yeah, just stay away from that Omo.
He's alright. He's old enough. He can do it.
Yeah. And was there anything else you want to touch on with those guys?
Nah.
Pretty good?
Not really, man. Like if I had to give him like a rating.
Yeah, give him a rating.
I'm going to say like an A-.
Yeah, I was going to say A-.
Yeah.
I think if you won this week and lost the prelim, I'd give an A.
Yeah.
And obviously...
You got to win the comp to get an A+.
Yeah. If you're in the grand... Well, I think getting into the grand final is an A+.
Yeah,
for your team.
Yeah.
Like for us, if we got into the grand final and lost... That wouldn't be an A+. That would be like I'd give them an A because they got there and lost on the day, you know? Like,
yeah.
But I think what you guys were leading into the year, like I know you put them in the 8, I didn't, but like that was more off of like
that was
respect for your own team, you know what I mean? Rather than anything else.
It wasn't like thinking we even halfway through, I'm like, we're not making it.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
A+, A- I think is probably
I reckon that's valid.
Sufficient score. Roosters
on to next year.
Yeah, on to next year. Roosters season review. Fuck, where do you start with them, man?
It's been
weirdest year. The weirdest year.
It's like it's been a letdown, right? But it's like redeemed itself at the end, but then it let down.
It's just enough to give you hope going into next year.
For sure.
Like enough to go.
If you didn't make the A, it would have been like a Rabbitoh story, right?
Yeah.
Probably worse.
Yeah.
Because yous were meant to be.
Yeah.
Premiership
and
favourites.
we finished on the same point, so it could have still been that, bro. Like, or do we finish 2 points ahead? Maybe
I think you finished 2 ahead.
So like one win ahead, and it's like one win can change a whole
100%,
story
man.
of your season.
And like 4 weeks to go, like you sort of fucked.
If you looked at the start of the year, right, and you say to me, we snuck in the 8 and we lose in the last minute of the second week of the finals, I'd have been fucking devoed.
Yeah.
If you told me at the start of the year.
Yeah. If you told you that halfway through the year, you would have been like, fuck yeah, cunt.
I would have been happy with that. You tell me now and I'm like, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
I am. Like, you always want your team to win, especially when they've like got a roster to go to the grand final or whatever.
For sure, yeah.
But the way the season played out for whatever reason, you know, like it was successful if you look back on it. If you looked forward and you said that, you'd be like, that's a fucking like F. Yeah. So you sort of go, I just think we need to start faster.
Yeah.
That's our issue, man. Last 2 years.
Yeah.
I can't really say much about the year before because that was an injury year, but like.
Yeah, that's just Robbo though, like playing like people around the wrong sides of the field and shit. Like, figure that out in preseason. Yeah. Figure that out in the trials.
Something that really annoyed me this year was like, I remember I watched our awards ceremony last year and it felt like last year for 20 weeks we just were chopping, changing. He played Kiri at 7, Walker at 6.
Yeah.
They were playing. I think they had Satilli on the left. They put Crichton on the right.
Yep.
They were playing, different centers and all this shit, and it was taking ages. And then they finally just changed everything back to how they should be lined up, right?
Like, went on that run.
And we went on like an 8-9 game winning streak.
Yep.
We're tearing cunts up, mate, tearing them up.
Yeah.
And then it got into this year, and the only thing that really changed was Cheese.
And Satilli
Satilli was injured, but Nat, when they went on that run, Nat was playing right.
Yeah.
Like he was playing where he was
Yeah.
playing, man.
Yeah.
And they kind of started the year in the same positions, but it just like it didn't work for the first few weeks.
No.
And then he kind of just freaked out.
Yeah.
And instead of just sticking to your process and going, maybe they're just unfit, maybe they're not like.
It's just not gelling yet.
Give him 10 games, they'll come right, like he kind of just started fucking with it.
Yeah.
And then he drops Walker, and then he gets injured.
Cheese got a finger injury.
Yeah, he was injured in and out.
Yeah.
I think he was fit, but I think Cheese was trying to be a 9 too much.
When he's a 13.
And you look at him, what was he doing really well the last, however many games this season? He was playing 9, but he was just passing the ball.
Yeah.
And when he saw a fucking hole,
fucking burrow.
he would burrow like a fucking
Wombat.
13.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Get over the advantage line, man.
100%.
What does Harry Grant do? He doesn't do anything different.
No.
He just gives good service.
Yeah.
And then when he sees
takes
it,
opportunity
he
when he
fucking
sees
takes
it.
off. And
Yeah.
he should play the exact same way, and he was.
Yeah.
And that's why he went good, like towards the end. So
Yeah. He definitely silenced a lot of those early year critics, I reckon.
for sure.
Yeah.
And he was fit by the end, it's a
yeah.
thing.
Yep.
So I think he'll go way better next year.
For sure.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
I
keep the fucking same.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Like by the time they did the same as last year. He fucked around and then he fucked around again. And then by the time he figured it out, even before Walker got back, they figured it out and they were putting fucking Manu at 6. And I'm like,
the only thing that
what
they're
he's
going to need to
doing?
work out is, or if Crichton goes or whatever, Nat Butcher will fill in for him anyway. But like Dom Young will come be on the wing, obviously. Tupou is going to be on the other wing.
yeah,
Suoliti and Manu in the centres.
no.
Who?
I'm giving Billy Smith that centre spot.
Well, then Suoliti where?
Well, he can't play, bro.
There's not going to not play him.
Where do they play him?
I know, but they
He's not a centre.
is Tupou get dropped?
So what happened this year? What was the issue this year?
Yeah, him.
What was there was
he's a
3
winger.
main issues this year. One, they dropped fucking Walker,
yeah.
and then he got injured, so he was out for most of the year. I just want to also point out, they dropped him for 1 week,
Yeah.
and he got injured.
Yeah.
People going on, I keep
Like he
seeing
was-
all this
yeah.
shit, they dropped him all year, and they finally bring him back, and look what he did. No, he got dropped for 1 game and
Yeah.
got injured. What are they, just chill out.
Yeah,
He would have
yeah.
probably been back
Probably.
in 2
Weeks ago.
Maybe he had 2 weeks in reserve grade, he would have come back.
Yeah.
But he got dropped the week before Magic Round.
Yeah, got that knee.
And then he got a knee injury, and then he was at the game, and we were like, why the fuck was he at the game and not playing? And they pulled him out of reserve grade because he got injured.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? You know what I mean? That pissed me off. Everyone kept talking about that. But that was one. The second thing was I could understand doing it because it made sense. But then once he saw him there, he went on with it too long, which was Manu.
Oh, yeah.
Manu playing 6.
Yeah.
We could see after 1 game it wasn't working, man. It wouldn't work.
No.
He doesn't pass the ball.
No.
Every time it went out to go low block, he'd get the ball, or block play. He'd get the ball. He'd look, doesn't know how to pass, doesn't know how to kick, dummied, step back inside, went himself.
Yeah.
And every fucking team knew it.
Yeah.
So there was never any.
No surprise.
Wonder why we scored the least amount of tries other than the Tigers until 6 weeks ago in the season.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Well, we had no creativity, man.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was Suoliti in the centres. It doesn't. And he took 15 weeks to move him.
Yeah. It's wild.
That's the issue. Okay, I understand. Yep, he looks great. He. By all accounts, you look from the outside in, you go, he's a centre. He could easily play in the centres, right?
Yeah.
But after 5 games, we realised, give him time. He'll work into it. He didn't though. He wasn't getting any better.
He's a winger.
What was the main things that was giving us really good momentum? Last year when we went on that huge run as well. Great yardage.
Yeah.
He'd go second. It would be every single time there was a kickoff. What was it? It was JWH into Suoliti would be the second carry. He's great under the high ball. So you've got two attacking threats. You've got Tupou and you've got him.
Crazy defensive wingers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And big hits, right?
Yeah.
And we saw none of it because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know when to come in and have a run, because it's different to playing on the wing, man. You've got to stay in your position. You know, so
take your early carries, get back out.
And he never figured it out. And they finally changed it about, I think it was like round 14, 15. And he played one game and was really good. Then he got that suspension. Then he got from the knee.
Yeah.
So then he was out again. And then he finally came back. And then when we went on the run, he was playing on the fucking wing.
Yeah.
So
I just don't.
It's interesting, man, what they do next year. But I can't. Going off of what Billy Smith did, off the last 6-7 games of the year, he was our best. I reckon he was our best player.
I reckon too.
So how could you drop that?
No, I understand that.
And you can't put someone who's shown he can't play centre in the centres.
No,
so he's not going to make up for it. So it's going to be either, I can't see them. Dom Young's a big money signing. They're not going to drop him.
But Suoli's on decent money.
Yeah, but
so I don't like.
But they're not going to drop Dom Young. He's their marquee signing next year.
Yeah,
and you've got a legend of the club who you know what you're going to get every fucking week. And I'd almost say if he was playing on the weekend, we would be playing next week because he would have caught that ball. Yeah, because That's his, what does Robbo say? He says he owns the stride. Like he does, man. He would have caught that ball. So it's good headache to have, but who knows, man? Could be an injury next year, and someone does their ACL, and bang, that's it. So that's the other thing. Like, you just don't know, man. Like one of the wingers can hurt themselves, or and the thing is, like, you could easily say that Manu can play on the wing. Fucking Billy Smith can play on the wing. They can all sort of play in their positions. So it'd be interesting, but
good headache to have.
Got good depth. Not many teams have depth with players like that, man.
100%.
But weird season. I'd probably overall give them. I'll go a B+. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
I'd say that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. I couldn't really go any higher than that. No. It was a pretty poor season, but with the
way
finish,
it ended, it's like it's a pass mark.
It was a pass mark, yeah. But as I said, if you looked at that from the start of the year, you'd be like, it's a fail.
Yeah.
But from 100%. What everything happened, and just find a team early on, fucking do your homework, Robbo, and just stick to it.
For sure.
And make sure it's not shit when it starts before you stick to it. The issue is you did stick to it, but it was dumb.
You're digging your heels in for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Cool, man. So we've kind of touched on the two games. We're definitely for the Roosters and the Knights. Let's talk a little bit about the Storm, I guess, and the Warriors from the wins. Like we did a little bit about the Warriors, but
Storm, I think, like they did all that without Jerome Hughes. So I think that Wishart played well. He obviously when Hughes,
he did good things and bad things.
He did.
You could tell he wasn't
defensive reads. Shit.
Yeah. But it's kind of like you could tell he wasn't a starting half.
Yeah. He had glimpses of greatness, but yeah. What have they said if Hughes is coming back in this week?
They said he's a possibility, and so is Xavier. But he said Hughes is more likely. More likely. Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I think they just did. They got help getting that win, but it's just such a Storm thing, right?
They do it's what they do, man. They stay in games. We were probably the more dominant team for, you'd probably say, at least 50 minutes of that game, if not 60.
They had the first 30.
Yeah.
Then you probably had the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And just those few shit calls swung the momentum. Yeah.
For them to get behind and then come back, it just shows what champion sort of teams and culture is sort of made on, right? Two of probably the best clubs you could say built on culture, sort of going head to head, and you sort of seen from both teams as well, what that is. Hey, never give up.
Yeah, there was a bit of I don't know. It came across to me like a bit of apprehension in that game too, because everyone knew how big of a game it was. You didn't want to fuck up. You didn't want to be the person that fucked up.
It's hard to say if it's that or if it's just they understand that because it's the two teams have been there a lot in the past. They know
it's hard to get to this point.
You're not going to win it in the first minute, so there's no point throwing fucking weird shit. And so just play it out. And the biggest problem from that game was that just wasn't. They almost weren't allowed to get into an arm wrestle because of the ref. At the end of the day, we talked about it, but
let's not.
No, you know what I mean. I'm just saying,
yeah.
like it could have been an even better game
For sure,
if
yeah.
the game just flowed.
Yeah.
But it just didn't.
And we saw that in the
know,
second half.
Yeah.
When it was a bit more flowy.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit more in the second. The first was fucked, but
It's fucked. Yeah.
yeah, like, can you see him beating this week? We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
May as well go on to that game now. So
Yeah.
Panthers Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it depends. Like, if Cleary's fine, I really see him struggling. Going off the, you said the odds, they were paying what, like 430 or something?
495.
495. Like, I definitely would put a bit of money on that because it's Storm, you never know, man.
Yeah,
right?
That must mean the line is like, I'm going to have a look actually. Must mean the line is like pretty decent. If that's actual, like I might get on the Storm line. But yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to expect the Panthers
12 and a half line. That's not as big as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. You'd have to expect the Panthers to go pretty well, man. Like, I can't... I think this season deserves a Panthers-Broncos final. So that's way I'll back, even though...
Panthers...
you don't know, but...
A Panthers-Warriors final would be pretty wild.
Yeah, it would be good, but I think the comp deserves the two best teams all year, and they were the two, like, by far.
For sure.
No matter what you think about your own team, and as cool as it would see to see the Warriors get in there, and everyone would obviously back them, it probably deserves and I don't really want the Panthers to be in there, even though I don't like the Storm either.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like...
do you want the Broncos to win?
I kind of do.
Yeah, same.
I don't know why. I kind of do.
Same. I fucking hate it, and I never ever wanted to say it.
Yeah.
But I like their players.
I kind of do want them to win. I'd love to see, like...
I'd like to see Paddy.
Yeah, Paddy get one. Renault get one.
Yeah.
You know, Haas is...
Renault
easily left,
one.
and although they've upgraded him and shit, like, he's stayed there to win prems with them. You know,
they
like...
could do it this year.
Yeah.
I think
maybe because he wins, he might come back to Sydney and go to the Roosters.
Renault, he definitely deserves another.
Yeah.
Like, and to have done it at two clubs would be fucking massive.
Yeah, I think it deserves to be that sort of a final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... Do you reckon Luai plays? What do you reckon?
I don't know if it's worth the...
but then
if he's not 100%.
But then you risked him in the final instead?
But that's the thing.
That's the thing. Do you almost want to give him a run in this game?
And if he gets re-injured or if he's not that good, then
maybe you just carry Cogger on the bench in case.
It's a big one to have, though.
You might be able to in this game, though.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think you'd be able to in the Broncos game.
No, you wouldn't be able to in the Broncos
But then
game.
it's like a good run out, right? I was talking to Dex about it, who's like obviously a little bit more like sports sciencey than me, and he reckons that like he'd probably be able to get through it. Like they wouldn't be playing him if he couldn't, like...
Right.
Yeah. So with dislocations, is obviously all different like levels, but he said with his opinion he'd be able to play.
Right.
So
I think like you need him there for the grand final.
Yeah.
So if they give him a run, then just put your fingers crossed.
You just go out. It'd be like you just go out in training paddock and go, all right, cunt, we're gonna fucking just run at you.
Yeah.
For the next 20 minutes.
See how you feel after.
And if you can hold up, like put a couple of needles in you for pain or whatever, if there is any, and like if you doze all right, then you're in. But it's a big call.
It is a big call.
You just never know.
One of the bigger calls.
Who have they got if he goes off? Salmon's not really been playing, has he? Like, so he's not in the team.
No.
Who can play half?
Crichton?
Maybe. Or do you put fucking Crichton at fullback and then you put Edwards in the 6?
That might be the go. They'd have a way. They'd have to have like...
You'd have to have a backup plan.
And like even if they put Edwards in the 6, Crichton, but they're not losing much.
No.
Like still pretty solid.
Yeah. Especially if Hughes is out.
Yeah.
Because like kind of like...
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're already
about
up
similar, right?
It's going to be a good game though.
Yeah. So you're on Panthers?
Yeah, I think you have to, right?
Yeah, I'll go Panthers.
Yeah.
You really need some fucking things go your way, mate. I think I've got your tipping comp.
Yeah, it's all right. I already succumbed to that loss. Like,
it would have been good if we were even on the last game.
I didn't bring you 50 either.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, this guy still hasn't given me 50.
I'll give it to you next week.
Fucking dog.
Or grand final review, whatever.
Yeah. And then Broncos Warriors, man. We'll touch on this one quickly.
Yeah. It's all looking like Broncos, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't really have any issues injury-wise, eh? They're pretty fresh.
Good to go, yeah.
Right.
I think Warriors, it's been a massive season. Like, and we'll review them next week or the week after whenever they get out. But they'll get out next week or the week after because it'll be grand final or whatever.
Right. Yep.
So fuck you. But I think maybe like that massive game on the weekend, home final, like all this, like Warriors. That might have been it. Maybe.
Yeah, it seems a bit that way. Like it might be. I don't know. I've written them off fucking every week, man.
Yeah,
and I feel like a hater, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Wars," and I'm just like, "Yeah, fucking, they don't lose."
Yeah.
I don't want to feel that way because I think it's great what they've done.
100%.
Like I think they've done an awesome job. But
they have for sure.
Like, yeah, it did feel that was their final a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, just like I feel
hope
like
it's not.
Yeah. I feel like your week, the week before was your final, you know, like
and that
big,
might be theirs.
big occasion, you know.
Yeah.
So you could almost say, it might have been, you know, such a high point that how do you go higher than that?
Yeah, like that, you emotionally, like that was everything. Like you spent everything on that.
Yeah.
Like how good.
It's hard to get back up. I know it's not hard because you're playing in a final, but
no, but like,
in Brisbane, hostile crowd, you know, like.
I mean, I'm sure they'll
a
have
fucking red hot team. Probably the most informed team all year, I'd say, over the Panthers.
I agree.
And probably the most dangerous team I would still put over the Panthers.
And like you looked at, if they had played their A grade team in that round 27, they would be the minor premiers.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
so
Right.
like
it's true.
Yeah.
And they've been the most quality. Like you look even at times when they had Reynolds out and shit, they were still playing well, man, dominating.
They're
and shit,
dangerous.
You know?
Like from position 1 to 17, or at least 1 to 13. They're dangerous all over the park.
Yeah, man.
Superstars everywhere.
I think, you know, although they've got a lot of young guys and they'll do well for the years to come, I think this is their year to win it. They have to win it this
Renault
year.
And shit.
They've got Renault, who's like obviously going to be there next year, but they lose Flegler, who's going to be a massive loss.
Although they'll get
like
older.
Capewell's getting older. They'll gain, you know, like Fletcher Baker, but probably not like for like. He's probably not as good.
Yeah.
They lose Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how fucking good or like
out of
bigger
the
player
backfield,
is.
Like
he is
hard
unbelievable,
carries,
man.
Yeah.
Like he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like that is a massive loss.
Massive loss.
Next year. So like
good game for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
Fuck
100%.
Yeah.
But I just think there's a few players there that are going to leave and like,
this is like their year.
Although they'll always be there or thereabouts, I can just see this year being their year. The team's just like at this perfect level of like balanced between vets, like guys that have been around for a little bit, like rep players, but then like really good youth that like might do some dumb shit.
Yeah, you've seen like when they had like Pakura come in and stuff.
Yeah.
He's been a gun.
Yep.
And he was no one even fucking knew who he was.
He's keeping Ricky out half the time, bro, or Capewell, you know. Like, but then they've still got that in the squad, and you know,
because like those sort of guys are going to get upgrades.
Yeah.
Then they might not be able to keep the whole team.
Exactly.
You know, like it's,
same as Panthers. Look at it, man.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're the Roosters, you keep everyone. So, yeah. So like, it's kind of, I can just see it this year being their year.
Yeah.
I can see them going all the way, man.
Same. I kind of hope it. Like it'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Kind of hate it.
It'd be cool because I haven't won since 2006, and I don't hate them like I used to when I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
I think one, I cared more when I was a kid.
I think I just hated all the players back then.
I hated all the players,
and then,
100%.
Now I'm like,
I hated all the players, and I hated the fact that I went to school and had to listen to it all day, every day, and I think that made me like hate it more.
Yeah.
And then I think
maybe
when you're a kid, it's like sport, your football team and stuff. For me, when you're a kid, you got nothing else going on in your life.
Yeah,
that is everything. You know what I mean?
Still kind of like to me.
It is a little bit, but then you've got more things going on. You've got a family, you've got a daughter. I've got a business. You know, there's all this shit going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes
can't be your whole thing. Yeah,
we lost on the weekend, and I went to bed, just had to get up and fucking run my business the next day.
I hardly even watched the Knights game because we were at a 30th.
Exactly. You don't have time, man. Like you get older, and there's different things happen. But when you're a kid, it's like be all and end all. Like you have to go and get fucking flogged by your mates the next day about losing, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
So, same with Origin and that, although Origin still hurts. Probably the one
that hurts.
One is when you're older, that definitely hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think it's I think I can see them going all the way, and I probably hope they do, to be honest.
Yeah. Nah, I hope so too.
All right. I don't think there's much all.
Nah. That's it. So you're tipping
Tipping Broncos, man.
Yeah,
so
Broncos
Panthers, Broncos. I think most people will this week.
Yeah.
But hey, if the Warriors get up, I wouldn't be sad about it either.
Neither. Stop Storm.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for tuning into the funeral this week.
Yeah, the mourning of our teams.
Yes. If you haven't, please like, subscribe. We're only 2 subscribers away from 50. So if you haven't subscribed, I know 50. Wow, big for us. Big for us. If you can, we seem to be getting about 150 listeners a week. So if you do listen, please just give us a subscribe. It'll be awesome, and it will get onto more people's channels, and we'll be able to do some more content for you. So that'll be really big. But yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Thanks. See you later.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.